Tonight on KGW News, the man who went on a rage-fueled trip through a Portland parade learns how long he'll spend in prison. Plus, the candidates for Portland City Council now under investigation for donating to each other's campaigns. And presidential elections in Portland often come with protests. What police say they're doing this year to be ready. But first, the candidates for vice president get their one shot on the debate stage.
What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership.
Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence.
We're fact-checking some of the claims they made tonight. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm David Mulco. In their one and only debate tonight, the candidates for vice president touted their running mates at the top of the ticket while also criticizing their opponents. NBC's Bree Jackson has the very latest.
Governor, Senator.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance clashing on the debate stage just hours after Iran's strike on Israel put a spotlight on foreign policy.
You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter.
Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line.
A moment of unity in response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene.
I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get.
And on the economy,
Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do, we'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best, more people are participating in it, and folks have the things that they need.
If Kamala Harris has such great plans for how to address middle-class problems, then she ought to do them now, not when asking for a promotion.
Vance turning the focus to a top issue for Republicans, border security.
You've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations.
Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this, and he promised you, America, how easy it would be.
On democracy, former President Trump's running mate refusing to admit Trump lost the 2020 election.
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
So, America, I think you've got a really clear choice on this election of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
With voting already underway in parts of the country, each campaign is looking to leave a lasting impression in what is likely the final debate. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Yeah, busy night. Our Verify team broke down some of the other claims the candidates made tonight. Moderators asked about climate change. Tim Walz saying Democrats have managed to pass policies addressing climate while also overseeing an increase in energy supply.
We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy.
Oh, we can verify that is true. Data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration shows crude oil production is at an all-time high, increasing every year since 2021 after a brief drop-off due to the pandemic. The data also showing that natural gas production in America has never been higher, rising every year since 2016. Meanwhile, when it comes to the economy, Vance argued it was thriving under President Trump. Take a listen.
Most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able.
Well, we can verify that claim is also true. When you look at household income adjusted for inflation, it rose by about 6% from the year Trump took office to the year he left. It's also continued to rise under Biden, albeit at a slower rate, according to the Census Bureau. More fact checks from the debate under Verify up for you now at KGW.com. And with Election Day just 5 weeks out, tonight we're getting an update from Portland's police chief about how his team is preparing for protests and potential violence. Catherine Cook is here with a look at that. Catherine?
Well, David, for one, the Bureau's rapid response team is back after 3 years. They work crowd control and are training with OSP this week. Also, liaison officers are meeting with community groups and offering to help those planning on exercising their First Amendment rights on election night. But what about groups planning to break the law? We asked Chief Day about that.
Know that Police Bureau is 100% committed to minimizing any criminal activity.
The message from Portland Police Chief Bob Day 5 weeks ahead of the general election. 5 weeks left to prime the public and prepare the rank and file for however November 5th shakes out.
This isn't just some, dream of mine. I think we can show up in a typical Portland way with a robust commitment to First Amendment expression, at the same time not engaging in criminal activity.
On paper, it's the optimal outcome, but history tells a different story. In 2016, after Donald Trump's win, protesters engaged in nightly demonstrations. Some gatherings turned into riots. Groups blocked streets and freeways. Some threw bottles and flares at officers. 4 years later, relative peace when President Biden won. But on Inauguration night, far-left protesters hit the Democratic Party headquarters, smashing windows and tagging walls. Some carried signs that said, "We don't want Biden, we want revenge." All through the pandemic, a steady stream of vandalism cost the city and private businesses tens of millions of dollars. But back to what November 5th might bring. For starters, every sworn officer in the city. Chief Day says he's canceling days off and staff will be on mandatory 12-hour shifts. All the other stuff? TBD.
My message to those that intend to engage in criminal behavior is that we will be interdicting that behavior. We'll be stepping in, we'll be making arrests, we'll be recommending cases for prosecution.
As the Police Bureau continues to prepare for election night, Chief Day says they do so amid lingering staffing issues. Right now, they have around 800 sworn members compared to more than 1,000 in 2019. David?
Yeah, the number of police on the streets and the number of people think we should have also going to be an election issue. Thank you, Catherine. Well, meanwhile, tonight, the city of Portland has pushed pause on matching certain campaign contributions. This comes as the Secretary of State is investigating some city council candidates accused of donating to each other so they could get matching funds from the city. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with the very latest here. Alma?
Well, David, it's important to note that candidates donating to another campaign is fairly common, but planning to donate funds to a campaign in exchange for a donation in return, that's where things get dicey.
Since the 2020 election cycle, the purpose of one city program is this.
Portland's Small Donor Elections program enables anyone with broad community support to run a competitive bid for office by just collecting small contributions from Portlanders and getting city matching funds.
Director Susan Mattei explains in order to qualify for matching funds, city council candidates need to collect 250 contributions.
That's a hard threshold. It's meant to really make sure that matching dollars are only going to candidates who are really putting the work in and have broad community support.
In an effort to reach that threshold, some candidates in Portland were found to have exchanged donations.
In August, there was a conversation on a big email listserv about why don't we agree to donate to one another.
But Mattei says there are two problems with this agreement. One, the program doesn't match contributions given in exchange for an item of value. A reciprocal contribution would fit that definition.
The second problem is that it may run afoul of state inducement and undue influence law.
The Secretary of State's office confirmed they're investigating 4 city council candidates to see if they've violated the law. Chad Likens, Michael Trimble, Sam Sachs, and Mike DiNapoli, while the Small Donor Elections team sorts through all candidate-to-candidate contributions.
So I've temporarily frozen all of the contributions from candidates while I sort through, was there an agreed upon exchange for this one?
In other words, they won't be matching these types of contributions as they wait for the rest of the reporting. While her investigation continues, Mattei says she doesn't believe those who agreed to donation swaps had nefarious intentions.
This opportunity comes along to maybe give to someone who's going to give to you, and it doesn't feel as embarrassing to ask for. And I can see why it sounded like a good idea at the time.
After the investigation wraps up, the donations found to meet the eligibility criteria will be matched. Those that don't won't be, nor will they count towards a candidate's donor contribution total. I did reach out to all of the candidates under investigation, but so far have not heard back. David?
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how this all shakes out. Thank you, Alma. Hey, speaking of the city races, we are just 2 weeks out from a debate that could help local voters determine the future direction of the Rose City. KGW partnering with the Oregonian to host a debate with the top candidates in the race for Portland mayor. And guess what? We want to hear from you. So submit a short video posing a question to the candidates to debate@kgw.com. You can also scan that QR code there for details. Then join us live. It is Tuesday, October 15th at 6:30 in the evening with yours truly right here on KGW and streaming online and on KGW+. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, Washington County wants to remind people fire season is not over and a burn ban is still in place. This afternoon, a burn pile caused some major damage in a wheat field outside Forest Grove. That fire spread quickly in the Gales Creek area, burning about 4 acres. Crews got it under control within an hour, and thankfully, no structures were damaged. More than 3,000 nursing home workers in Oregon say they are now willing to go on strike. Contracts for some members of the Service Employees International Union expired overnight. Negotiations have been underway since June around issues including pay and benefits like affordable health care. Members also say a lack of staffing is having an impact on the safety of their residents. And basketball powerhouse Gonzaga is set to join the Pac-12 in 2026. Over the last 2 weeks, the conference, which you'll remember was just down to Oregon State and Washington State, also added several others: San Diego State, Fresno State, Colorado State, Utah State, and Boise State. The Pac-12 still needs to add one more football school to the mix. Sorry, Gonzaga, for a total of 8 to make it an official football conference.